It's important that we listen to the sacred Dharma and that we contemplate again and again the meaning of what we have heard. But then we need to apply what we have understood in practice, because that's the only way to gain the state of liberation and omniscience. If we do not practice, it doesn't matter what we have learned, and it doesn't matter what we have understood, whether it is sutra or tantra. It also doesn't matter how learned we become. If we don't apply what we have learned in practice, we will not be liberated. This is why it is taught that the root of the Dharma is only emptiness and compassion. And if a shepherd realizes this, that shepherd will gain liberation. If a pandita, a scholar, does not realize this, then that person will continue to wander in samsara. This is true. This is a fact. And so it is extremely important that we first listen to the teachings. But then the second step is to really contemplate what we have heard, really investigate and examine until we arrive at a state of certainty. And then once we are certain, we should apply the meaning that we have become certain about in practice. Sometimes we say that even more important than the main part of practice is the preliminary. It's more important and even more profound. What does that mean? It's important that we contemplate impermanence again and again and again. And the reason for this is because it tames our body, our speech, and our mind. It's not the main part of practice. It's not the view of emptiness and interdependence. These are difficult to understand. These are extremely profound. But more important than that is to start by really contemplating impermanence, by remembering again and again and again, every conditioned thing is impermanent. It's not going to last. It's something that each of us must become capable of thinking about, capable of remembering again and again and again. It doesn't matter what we accumulate, it's impossible that it won't eventually run out. It doesn't matter how strong, how stable we build something, it's impossible that it won't fall down. Everything that we build, everything that we create, it's impossible that it will not be destroyed in the end. Every time there is a meeting, every time we meet, it is impossible that that meeting will not end in parting ways, in going our separate ways. And it is impossible that birth does not end in death. It always does. And that's why Dharma practitioners, as practitioners of the sacred Dharma, we have to remember impermanence again and again. We have to think about impermanence. Because when we do this, our body, speech, and mind will change. Very naturally, we will become more peaceful, more tame, more careful. This is why it is said that contemplating impermanence and giving rise to a sense of weariness for samsara is what will actually inspire us to practice the Dharma. And when we do that, when we contemplate impermanence, when we really feel a sense of weariness with samsara based on that contemplation, at that point, we can actually be called Dharma practitioners. At that point, we actually are Dharma practitioners. Otherwise, honestly speaking, being involved in some kind of very high view and engaging in some very, very profound conduct here, we haven't actually tamed our minds. We can't say for sure whether we're really practicing the Dharma. That's why it's important to acknowledge that impermanence, the contemplation on impermanence, is our real inspiration for Dharma practice. It inspires our practice. It's for that reason important that each of us really thinks about impermanence. So please really take impermanence seriously. All phenomena are impermanent. In particular, we ourselves will not remain long in this world. It is certain that each of us will die. It's important that we remember this, and when we talk about practicing the Dharma, we should practice the Dharma. We need to understand that that means beginning with inspiring our minds with the thought of impermanence and with a sense of weariness with samsara. We need to inspire ourselves this way repeatedly, again and again. The benefit of doing so, I've already explained to you, but it includes also a reduction in our negative emotions. In general, our negative emotions, any specific negative emotion that we are working with will be reduced, and in particular, especially pride and jealousy. The strength of those emotions is decreased when we really take impermanence seriously. Our body, our speech, and our mind becomes more peaceful, more tame, more careful, and we're able to really bring those three aspects into our mind at all times when we really take impermanence seriously. The second point is that when we give rise to genuine love and compassion and bodhicitta, when we have that in a very authentic way in our mind stream, when that is present, then this itself gathers the accumulations. This itself purifies our obscurations, and this itself becomes a cause for giving rise to the realization of profound emptiness. We can come to realize this through bodhicitta, through genuine, authentic bodhicitta. So our actions, our physical, verbal, and mental actions, if we genuinely embrace our practice, our actions with bodhicitta, then any physical, verbal, or mental action we engage in will be authentically virtuous. Sometimes it is said that someone who really possesses compassion, who is truly compassionate, every single thing that that person does is virtue. Everything that they do is virtue. When someone has true, genuine compassion, intense, unbearable compassion, real bodhicitta, the kind where you really believe that other people are more important than you are, that kind of real bodhicitta. When we have that bodhicitta, every single thing that we do, physically, verbally, and mentally, every action will benefit others. Nothing that we do will ever be selfish, will ever be carried out for our own benefit. And that means the bodhisattva activities, the bodhisattva practices which last for limitless eons, which involve countless limitless sentient beings and working for their benefit, and the activities of bodhisattva which are very difficult to engage in, all those things become possible. They become possible because of having authentic bodhicitta, genuine bodhicitta. And if we have that kind of genuine, authentic bodhicitta, this itself gathers an inconceivable amount of merit. It gathers the accumulations in an inconceivable way. It purifies an inconceivable amount of evil deeds and obscurations. And bodhicitta itself then becomes the cause for the view of profound emptiness, of extreme or conceptual elaboration to naturally dawn within our experience. All of this arises through precious bodhicitta.
Sanga dorje tebe ke yurlam dela lula nga yi tingin se tetabe ke cherso debu kota yi se 자다는 냠술라야 다 냠네 토모 마인 바지야 버려 얘가야 되다 보니 냠네 토모 마인 바 샤브라파바티 냠네야 보지 출신지 샤브라샤발라 람나 오메 따바지 랑게신 동화지 거래 대dar마촌나야 심삼백 따와지래 네시 예베 토네 되네 나와라 잡망나 전도 이시 냠네 제나 듣고 유지 공부 치마치시 아니 냠살라 두고요래 대답게 따베게 내상도 마신발라 지라마보지 냠살라 나마보지 대학 지그라서 마보지 신나야 안데 편바셔라 매바리 대여 유근나네 상하 집이 주율시게 퇴성의 시라 매베토네 나데 상하게 냠리 쳐봐야나 집이 주율라고 저요래 대소자 아리 작으로 파비율라 상하 고해야나서네 질 도봉게 대바 바고도 파르진지 대바 대낭세돼요 되네 대바침부 우승게 따발라 제바 지침바탕 제바서 많이 봐 건배게 냠도 여대게 딱 들리지게 가사기 뒤에 탑제베를 받아 시럽 조거를 봐 대양 제소 소주 그냥네 나그요래 근데서 때로방에 소말에 강마사 변명봐요 드미지게 먼저 조금 셀 대신 셀주를 깨지기 통매 싹을 말이 되게 썰 대소서 대답을 내서도 심지 주의생인데 가성부전을 땜바래 대소서 대기를 견주 봐서 주마 마시베 팅주 나출을 대바 이렇게 관계게 시 추출 송과야다 대단될 외토네 추출제야 개초로 짱반마에 개개게 동바들 가르쳐버려 시디 산지기 진주 관계게 시게 출내에서 개개를 동바라 내바다 тө상게 시라 야바다 대 건배 냠술 망서 대 냠술 하야래 대비 대소자 대내 내종 교식의 심지꿀 장임지 심지렌 양한테 따와 생각되다 값을 봐발라 그 오심을 따와 당들을 통해 상하도르지 개비 냠내게 출 저도 소주라서 냠내게 출 제발 냠 랑와이나 냠도 제발 줄을 짜지 아니 소주 그것이 신나되게 공부해야 톱톱을 여봐래 어떻게 둘로 샤로나 다 들을 조시 대상인
Our compassionate teacher, the Buddha, turned the wheel of Dharma 3 times, and he taught that it's important for us to engage in the conduct of not harming others and the view which is the absence of self. We can say that this is kind of the essence or the heart of the Buddha's teachings. And when we talk about the view in the context of the way it's taught in the general vehicle of the Buddha Dharma, expressed as the absence of self. In the vehicle of the perfections, that view is elaborated more clearly in a more vast and extensive way by describing it as free from the 4 extremes and free from the 8 conceptual complexities. It is that kind of essential view which is described as emptiness with a core of compassion. This is the way the view is described in the context of the vehicle of perfections. In accordance with the swift path of Vajrayana, we train in the practice of viewing the appearances as the deity, experiencing speech as mantra, and mind as samadhi. These 3 perspectives we bring into our practice such that we bring the results, which is the kayas and wisdoms of perfect awakening, into our practice right now when we are on the path. This kind of special practice that is taught in the Vajrayana, if we want to be able to engage in this in a genuine and an authentic way, we should ideally, in the best case, already have a sense of confidence in the view, in particular the view of the middle way, Madhyamaka. If not that, then having a sense of confidence, at least in the view of the mind-only school, is extremely important, because if we have one of these two views, if we have confidence in one of these two views as a basis of our practice, then when we train in experiencing appearances as deity, sounds as mantra, and all thoughts as the play of wakefulness, we become capable of practicing this in a genuine, authentic way. If we miss out, though, on these key points of the view, then we're not able to practice in such an authentic way. And even if we're visualizing many, many different deities, meditating on many deities, reciting many different mantras, setting up many, many different mandalas, it won't bring so much benefit without the view. It is taught in the Tantras that if one trains in Vajrayana practices without the authentic view, so-called Vajrayana just becomes not much more than child's play. So again, this is if we try to do Vajrayana practice without the authentic view, it just becomes like a children's game, just like child's play. This is why previously in India, Vajrayana was also called the Guhya Yana, the secret vehicle. And if one wanted to train in Vajrayana practice, one needed to begin with a genuine, authentic understanding not only of the foundational vehicle of the Buddhist teachings, but also the vehicle of the perfections, and also the view of either Madhyamaka or mind only. And with this as the foundation, not just a conceptual understanding based on having investigated and examined, but actually experience and realization of that view that arises through meditation. A person who had that kind of foundation would only then at that point take up the practice of the aspect of method, which is the generation stage, and the aspect of wisdom, which is the perfection stage, and then finally the unity of generation and perfection stage practices in the Vajrayana. This is why the great master Tilopa taught, the darkness that has gathered for many eons is utterly and completely dispelled by the light of a single lamp. Just like that, a single moment of mind's luminosity clears away the evil deeds, obscurations, and ignorance gathered since beginningless time. So this is the key point of mind's nature. And when that point is clear, we are able to practice in an authentic way. And it is taught clearly in this statement. This is practice that is important not just for monks and nuns, of course for them, but also for all Buddhist practitioners. But if we want to practice authentically, all of us must begin with the foundation in discipline. And it's important that we don't think that discipline is just the vows of a novice or a fully ordained monastic practitioner. It's not just that. Even the vows of a lay practitioner, a household practitioner, this is an important aspect of discipline in the Buddhist context. And discipline is the foundation for all Buddhist practitioners. On the basis of the foundation of discipline, we can give rise to the wisdom that arises through listening and contemplating the teachings. And then we can bring that understanding into experience through meditation practice. It's so important that we begin by inspiring ourselves with the contemplation on impermanence and a feeling of renunciation with samsara, a sense of weariness with samsara, that we inspire our mind in this way, that we moisten or suffuse our mind with love and compassion, and that we give rise to the authentic view. Here, the authentic view refers to the view of mind only, or the middle way, and this then becomes the basis for being able to engage in the practices of Vajrayana, the practices of the generation stage and the perfection stage brought together as a unity. If we practice in this way, with this foundation, then experience and realization, genuine experience and realization, arises swiftly in our experience. And then we can attain the state, the unified state of the 4 kayas and the 5 wisdoms. So this is the teaching for today. Please keep these points in your heart.
Nian Zhong Joshi Ji Sim Ju Gong Cham Ni Ji Sim Ju Len Yang Tabi Tawa Tang Matal Bachi Sort of Yang Tabi Tawa Kare Tawa Rapti Ta Nana Shimeva Tap Tayang to Kote Bachano Saldon Soju Tétong Sonju, Nandong Sonju, Ritong Sonju. Tate ato dordina, Nang la machine leva, said, Correct Bachana, Omeke Teti Bashila, Savala Teni, didn't know Chutam, Ranshi Dember Matu, but then pop to be ordered. Tony Ripi, Jang, Dog Lions. Shit, talk, Jundin Samo, Sudo. Don't need the Ribiki, Chibik Tony, to Senior, to Lavia. Shit, talk, Jundin Samo, Tati, Terita, Tesson, Kanki, Tenjin Genju Shabati, Chusheso, Kanki, Chushabati, Tejishaba Sheso, Saswari. The Ginju Soda, Sumaso, Nansula, Lojumambo Nangayori, Chingayori. Tachanato, Shay, Nansula, Loro Shida, Wananka Soki, Mijik Tanda Shubike, Tenjin Genju, the Cortella, so the Inji, Messi, Tersanke, Jabaya, Nanda, Tendil, Tene. Understand the super chuso chedala, Yamle, Yamsulana, Nebat, Troa, Nebat or Troa, Gawa, subject the Vigil to turn Calvachere to Sharona.
It's important that we inspire our minds with contemplation on a sense of renunciation and weariness with samsara. It's essential that we moisten our minds with love and compassion, and that we are never apart from the authentic view. What is the authentic view? Well, in the best case, it is to understand, to know that all phenomena appear, but they're not truly real. They're not truly established from their own side. Another way to express this that's easy to understand is to say the unity of appearance and emptiness, the unity of bliss and emptiness, the unity of cognizance and emptiness, the unity of awareness and emptiness. Or again, in brief, in a condensed form, all things appear and yet they are not truly real. They're not truly established. And we can actually establish this fact logically using logical reasoning such as the 4 great reasonings of the middle way and so forth. We can come to understand logically that all of these things appear but they aren't truly established from their own side. And it's taught that actually emptiness is easy to establish with reasoning. That's something that's easy to establish. What's very difficult to come to realize is cause and effect, profound cause and effect. But emptiness is something that we can easily establish through logical reasoning. Cause and effect is something that's extremely profound and more difficult to establish in this way. It is taught that everything that is interdependently anyone who knows interdependence knows the Dharma, and anyone who knows the Dharma knows the Tathagatas. Of course, the monks and the nuns study the Dharma so much, so all of you know this. But those of you who haven't studied the Dharma extensively, it's extremely important that you really learn about interdependence, that you study about this and that you contemplate this. Because if you really do this, then the Buddha's teachings in general and any specific teaching of the Buddha Dharma will be so much easier to have inspiration and joy to practice when you really have an understanding of interdependence. You will give rise to an inconceivable sense of inspiration, delight, and joy in your practice. So please keep this point in your mind.
체주 좀좀 계주 상승 스텔라 담배 굴도 담배 출 고도 담바텔라 개회신 체의의 담바 체의 간지 거래 개회신이 체의 어떠서 공성도 축축돼봐 체주 좀선은 토반내봐 계주 상승 개 단지지 그 근데지요나 개회신이 천대세 수화rel라 그간도 견제받죠 나 좀마서 나랑께 인터번에 레콜쇼야 수수가가 산지시 담반지 진조 별서 나게 레라 임바테 라 되네 그 연대 가르쳐 버서 담배 출구이 연대 상고래 그래서 천나베베 이지 담배 출구 그 투지 추가지 나로나 대나나 되는 지대지 카메라 산지지 때문에 농도지 때문에 니마 샤로나시 이 부다고 되네 샤마 마마 오마 지대지 카메라 내대그래 되네 대성사 지대지 카메라 산지지 때문에 내나 도와 미참마시 바부 부시지 제가 담지 되네 대신 람로 람도 타 람로 람도 시비 코로나 참 좋겠죠. 이니 대한테 빌라고 알라 중요그래. 그래서 저 하기 긴지서 시도 갈점 버려. 되는 거랑 그 메시지 나나 또 바투지 그 고니 동지 신조바다. 야외 간줄 선보테 게 가기 토라여가 있나야 탱 동지 도토바다. 견진지대 개sol로도 넘바 이렇게 타마야 동지 방법 들으지는 이거를 쇼토바다 대신도 냠다죠 나가 투투지 산스노르기 집에 토네 대대전들에서 다 담바치 무엇이 되시라 거우머르데 전업자수 같은 데 들이 제만이네 되네 최다양들과 사용고요래 그래서 들릴 때는 들리게 되는 저거 내가 저거 가시지 바람 메신 나한테라 돕토나 산데라와 열라 다라와도 표시 좀도도 라원 좀도 이렇게 짜원도한테 나랑 그 두다 넘바거든 지 꾸노도 넘바봐지 또데 참년지 자주 섭세에 갈수면 방에데 갈수 거실 있으니 되는 꾸노도 네 차도라做了那个去 시타바네 제게 최지다 만들어 토나 그려 봐. 이거나 되게 꾸노되게 내베게 내가디 해는 저 조용해. 잡여로 왔지. 다 바르네. 템바다 심선한테 되지 샤도 슈토바데 생아 케베게 남주 조베게 냠도 ngala mete te ko sabo chi ta jenne ko som chi chebe chi yong de te de de chi yong do te so te chran so din di bare re ya te ngala ha su yong ko re te som kom su ko to ne ngala chi chi ju zum su to ne ngala ha su chi ki ju sang su to ne ngala ha su chi chran so yong ko re ne rawa te yo bare te so ja ne rawa te rawa tong sa lo ma ta chen de ba yin chi min chi la to lo de len so ba ma ma la te da ni ta lo nga sa ba sha da ga de yo ka re so na ga ju ge ju ba ku de ba da lo da ba ji sa yi shu sa ji sam me shu gu su du ting de ma ri shu kim bo ka shi da lo lo ka shi ne cham la ta me de ta ta lo cham la shu ge ju du sa chu wa re ka shi lo sum ka shi lo tu ka shi lo gu ka shi ta lo ju ni cha to 근데 또 라 아니 코나 바 마보 저기 당에 체주테 지기 아택체 도무 잡도 나라나서 아주 게드베 테나네 텐도 속에 마보도 티기가 너 초라 때 sem라베 쪼나다 안나체 뭐 총라 텐들레 때네 나주 공백에 어때 경험 공부하세요 줘요 사자 마스 tuy다 보지 teleng이다 경제 받고 대받쳐 하다 되네 꽃성 쇼사 당부 강미 앞주스 지신토 제약이 철시다 괜히 대제라 통사 직반에 강미 자스 지신 대 뿌타부 제약이 내가 담자요 그 담자들이 라보 주제 값으로 대내대 담자들 대 개와트 법적인 연구리 대소자 대슈고의 윤선적 것들 들이 양화랄라 배배 두제님을 땡에 담자 견제 받고 대받쳐 건설 형사 당복함이 없죠. 대한테 상주도 추가다 탑상 예사 역시 탑상 중주 지체 대는 매셔도 강미 자탄 받지 그러지 신학의 처치여 그까지 시도 렌테하다 라해 신학의 선물이 대신도 나주 공부를 견디바 주마주다 마로 페이어를 그래서 나주 공부라 되네 좀 해 공부하대 근데 야 첨부지 그 다부지 신야 너는 담작하실 텐데요 그 담작된 그냥 강 종조 저렇게 지금 관계 투매 잡주 나로나 그래서 이제 견디 마서 질랍 세요를 주님 민들들 질랍 세요를 되네 내 잡으러 봐봐 땡 잡으러 봐봐 그 제가 가지고 뭐 다도체 개와 톱션 벌려 개와 톱션 벌려 때문에 그거와 담모름 샤바이는 든든도 그래 대대한 가보잖아 내대에서 내가 좀 가시지 다 단다 쉬어야 좀 대토를 샤로나
We are all followers of our compassionate teacher, the Buddha, and it's important that we rely on authentic spiritual teachers. An authentic spiritual teacher is someone who is wealthy in learning, reflection, and meditation, who is capable in teaching, composition, and debate, and who is kind, disciplined, and good. And this is extremely important, actually, that our spiritual teachers have these qualities of being rich, being wealthy in and meditation, in teaching, debate, and composition, and that they are learned and disciplined and good or kind. This is something that's so important in terms of the qualities of a teacher, and it's important for monastics, our monks and our nuns, to be like this. And so from my heart, I make this request to all of you monastic practitioners who are here. Please uphold the Buddha's teachings. This is what all of you are doing. You are upholding and propagating and spreading the Buddha's teachings. And if you wonder what qualities you need in order to be able to do this, these are precisely these 9 qualities of a sublime being. So please make sure that you become wealthy in these qualities, that you really have all of these qualities. Because if that happens, then what that means is that the Buddha's teachings of scripture and realization will spread and flourish in our world, that they will be present in our world just like the sun shining across our world. And this will bring benefit throughout the world, not just to human beings, but to every being. Even the tiniest bug is benefited by the presence of the Buddha Dharma in our world in this way. And it will bring benefit to beings who otherwise are on the wrong path, who have left the path behind and who are wandering in samsara. So for this reason, you will be able to benefit them. That's why we say that the noble Sangha is so important. And in my life, I have had a few different wishes and aspirations. One is to build 1,000 Buddha images, to create 1,000 Buddha statues, to make sure that the Kangyur, the words of the Buddha, are recited 1,000 times, to have 1,000 monastics under my care, and to provide generosity in terms of material goods to many people who are in need, and also to give them blessed substances so that they have some connection with the Dharma through this. The wishes and aspirations that I have had in my life, and many of them have come to fruition and are already coming to fruition. Why is that? It's because of my motivation. I always make sure to keep a pure motivation, to motivate myself with love and compassion and bodhicitta. This is what I consider the most important. My motivation, I take care to make sure that I'm not motivated by the pursuit of pleasure, of wealth, of gain and praise and fame. I take care as much as I'm able in every moment to be free from the 8 worldly concerns, and to always do whatever I do for the sake of sentient beings and the Dharma. With this kind of motivation, I carry out all of the activities that I engage in. And that's why I, someone who fled Tibet, a refugee, have been able to do some things that have been of benefit to the Dharma, and some things that have been of benefit to sentient beings. It's not because I'm learned and accomplished. It's not because I have some kind of experience and realization. It's because I take care to always have pure motivation, to never leave behind the pure motivation of wishing to benefit and serve others. And so you monks and nuns, I want you to be better than me. I want you to be more learned. I want you to study, to contemplate and meditate more than me. I want you to be better than me when it comes to teaching and debate and composition. My wish, my aspiration is that you are more disciplined, more learned, and more good, more kind. That's my wish. My wish is empty. Please make sure that you become like that. Practice. Over the past years, last year and this year, I've been quite happy because so many of our monks, senior monks, have come to me and made the request to do 3-year retreat. There were 24 requests, and some of them I had to temples, and some lopans I had to say no, not this time. But we just had 17 monks go into 3-year retreat. Some of them have already done 3 years of retreat. Some have already done 6. Some have already done 9. Some have already done 12 years of retreat. And many of our senior monks are making the request to me to stay in life retreat. This is something that I am so delighted to hear when I hear that request. And we have actually a piece of land below Nagi Gompa, this area that we call Gelong Gompa. It's a really good place. And so I'm going to make a retreat place there for our older Sangha, our older monastics. I'm making a commitment to build 50 rooms, and then eventually to build a 2nd floor so that we will have 100 rooms. Nice rooms, comfortable rooms for our older monastics to do retreat. And since today is Labab Duchen, and it's a good day for engaging in powerful virtue, I wanted to make this commitment in front of you today, that I will build 50 rooms for our older monastics to do retreat in the Gelung Gompa. And they'll be nice. We're going to build rooms that have bathrooms, that have a small kitchenette, and that are a comfortable place. And eventually I will build 100 of those rooms. I'm also planning to complete the reconstruction in Kaning Shedrpling Monastery. And at Nagi Gompa as well, we have more and more nuns. And so we will improve the facilities. We will make them bigger and nicer. So these are a few commitments that I wanted to make before you today on this auspicious day. And I would like to request you to please pray that these will be fulfilled quickly. When many monastic practitioners come together, there is so much blessing. And when we are present in a holy place, a sacred place in front of sacred images of the awakened Buddha, then there is so much blessing from being in a place like this. And also we have all gathered here today to recite the words of the Buddha, and this is something that is a powerful virtue. And so when we make prayers and aspirations in these kind of conditions, this leads to the accomplishment of those prayers and those aspirations. And so I would like to request you to please pray that all of these commitments may be swiftly fulfilled. Things that are important are worth repeating a few times. And so I wanted to say a few important things to you today. Please keep them in your heart.
Today is a very special day, Club of Teaching. So I thought we could among nuns debate, but it's a little bit late, so maybe we change the schedule. Today, I think maybe all of you are tired. Program is quite long. To now, 6 o'clock there's lunch, dinner. So please have dinner, and we will back here 7 o'clock, and we will chant. What we reading is in Kanjuru, in specifically teaching Kanala, Shirshin Sharab the Paradisaba, Tepachibotan, Pegu Nantenta, Jay Nanteke, Nala, teaching Domabuya, Tinana Kalshi Shirshin. Sharab the Paradisaba, Jane Dusuyore. Take Gondu Nimbo the Choba Pa Dea Sharab Nimbori. Take the Tant Jende Junsuku Kodu Sama Sun Dordu Dobati, the Per Kanji John of Tariana, Chu Secretary, Danzi Rudati Chuviori, Dorduna, Take a book, Chuti, the Ganzo Himalaya, looks of Mambo Jekitilla, Kabuchi or Toko level lavare, the Jefferson the Joseph thing tuare, the Tadilampo or somebody drink, the delusion Jitang. Then teaching Batama, Sanjo Abamela, Tevachi Bata, Devachan Chial, La Meva Chimbori, Teso the Dungeon, the Dena, the Trinity chair, and the Sunny is so dating a choro to Tevajan and Yasaka Samudu. I'm the boss, I have to change the program. No, only today I'm the boss.
The Mahayana teachings, one of the most important parts of the Kangyur in the Mahayana context, are the teachings on the perfection of wisdom. And in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, as well as the Chinese Buddhist tradition, the key points of the Mahayana, of course we have many different Mahayana sutras, but the most important are, or among the most important, are the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras. And there are extensive middle length and condensed forms of the Perfection of Wisdom, the Pragya Paramita Sutras. And the essence of these in the form that we recite is what we call the Heart Sutra in both the Tibetan and the Chinese tradition. But in the Tibetan tradition also there is another form of practice that we do that condenses the key meaning of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, the extensive, middle length, and short ones. And this is a practice that we call chu, cutting through or severance. And it is a practice that acts as an antidote to the Rudra, which is our own ego clinging. This is a practice that is beloved by the Himalayan people. It is something that is easy to make sense of and to recite. And there's an extensive version, which is the Tsokde Rinchen Tringwa. This is too long for us to do in this context, but there's a more condensed practice, the concise daily practice of giving the body, the concise chut practice. And so we will do this practice this evening, and also in the Mahayana context, all Mahayana practitioners have faith in Buddha Amitabha, and there is a prayer to take rebirth in Buddha Amitabha's pure realm, DAY-1 or Sukhavati. So we will also recite that prayer with the melody tonight, and then we'll do the debate tomorrow.
Okay, now I am a friend of all of you. And so I need to beware and care. So listen, bring cup. The plastic cup is not good. Made very dirty substance. Also, if we drink hot water, it's really not good for health. So please bring your own cup. Because it's so many people, it's difficult to share the cups. Cups also maybe not that clean. So bring one cup is so easy. So please bring your own cup, number one. Number two, I think many of you like coffee. So the big kitchen also giving coffee, but one special coffee. There is what is called coffee room. We have coffee machine. So please, whoever want to drink coffee, have there. Otherwise you might say, oh, I not got coffee, I'm tired. I can't chant because no coffee. So no excuse. No excuse. Number three, good to have the dinner, immediately come back. So at 7 o'clock we will go, come back and bring the text, Dhamma text. I think the monastery giving you the Dhamma text. It is translated in English and Chinese. So, and bring the text. Today, none will lead. None will lead the Lujin and Chame Demin. Tomorrow, monks and nuns about the debate. And I want each of you good to know what they debate. So, good to translate in different languages. And all of you good to serious to listen. Why they debating, why important to debate, how they debate, what is the result of debate. Debating is making sharp. Dharma knowledge more sharp, more profound, more correct. Kind of doubty, or not any kind of blurred. So those reasons debate is very important. Especially 21st century time, the debate system is very rich in Tibetan monastery. So this is extremely helpful 21st century time to Goebbels, also who says I not believe anything, or say I'm scientific mind. Any of them, if they want to challenge with Tibetan Buddhist monk, we can defeat them, no hesitate. And so there is the system of Tibetan Buddhism way of logically studying, logically debating is extremely important. So that program will be tomorrow. Now number one, don't bring your cup. Number 2, there is coffee. Coffee house, coffee. Number 3, bring Dharma text. Okay. 소놈들 범죄 세반이 섬는 예배다나 범죄니 제가나지 발라도 세배 졸라도 돌와라쇼 땀반지 대감수全받아 땀반이 의신도 살와 텐지 블록 다르시죠 땀바 요린 예배다시 땀배 발조 라메 샤베 텐지지고 사티 용라서 땀배 이제다 아한 저와 Temba yuringe betashu sho sadhu 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 saromangalam shubha geva churches geva churches jaya jaya su jaya jalchu jalchu cho tamjilena bar jalchu lasso toche sheshe sheshe amitofu No, hello. No more me topo, no more me topo, me topo, me topo, me topo, me topo. So we will chant Om Topo. Yang Hoche Sherab Maribe Mambasel Sherab Ye Domin Bar Cheminkai.
May the darkness of ignorance be cleared away. May the lamp of wisdom shine.
Ani name is Sonam Dolma.
The Ani's name is Sonam Droma.
Sonam Sorse Rab Sabne. Through
gathering the perfect accumulation of wisdom, may the blessings of this illuminating lamp enter into you. Excellent auspiciousness.
Okay, whoever watching, thank you. Oh, outside there is one Tibetan dance. We can look for 5-10 minutes. Oh, yeah, super.